And now let's talk about what happened this week. Lawmakers returning to Washington this week. Control of the U.S. Senate still hanging in the balance. It is all coming down to two Senate runoff elections tomorrow in Georgia. Our Lisa Desjardins is back with this report on the final push.
Kamala Harris!
For weeks, a platoon of the powerful has been flying one by one into Georgia, including the current president and the one about to become president. But don't be fooled. This is a ground war.
We've knocked on millions of doors already, made millions of phone calls.
We've already reached 711,000.
One of the field agents said he made like 1,500 calls. That's amazing to me.
It is a political doubles contest with the highest stakes. Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler defending their seats against Democrats Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. If both Democrats win, their party takes over the Senate.
We're the last line of defense.
Republicans faced a late campaign challenge when Perdue had a COVID exposure and entered quarantine last week.
And make sure they know exactly what's going on.
But meanwhile, dozens of groups have deployed. Everyone from the national parties to the New Georgia Project, focused on underrepresented groups, to the anti-abortion Susan B. Anthony list.
We've brought in our most seasoned field directors from all across the country into the state of Georgia.
And we've gotten people from California, Virginia, New York who just want to help.
With more than 1,000 combined staff and thousands of volunteers.
Out of all of my years of doing this work, I have never experienced what I'm experiencing on the ground.
LaTosha Brown co-founded the Black Voters Matter Fund 4 years ago to foster more Black turnout and registration. Nearly a third of Georgians are Black. Only Mississippi has a higher proportion. Asian Americans and Hispanics, together about 14% of the Georgia population, are also key this election. But the Black vote effort is particularly large, with 60 different organizations involved.
I went to early voting this morning.
The groups are creative, as seen in Facebook videos, voter drives in parking lots, and with New Year's collard greens, as well as showing up in courthouses to protest proposed cuts from voter lists. In early voting, many of the counties with the biggest turnout have large Black populations. That may be about more than the Senate. Some 4 million Georgians filed for unemployment in the pandemic. Brown says the Black community was hit hard by the economic and health crises.
We're seeing Black voters who are literally disturbed with what is happening in this state and really committed that they're going to get out and vote.
Democrats also feel good about new voters. 72,000 voters, including those who just turned 18, have registered to vote since November. But Republicans say they match all of that.
This is the largest grassroots operation ever built in the state of Georgia.
The Trump Victory Campaign and Republican National Committee have teamed up for a mammoth operation, a $20 million vote effort with thousands of people involved.
As soon as they vote, we'll stop knocking their door and calling their phones.
Phony Raphael Warnock puts.
And in case voters aren't getting enough attention, there are also the ads.
I've tried to keep the way that he acts under wraps for a long time, and today he crossed the line.
They have taken an ugly and sometimes personal turn recently. Ad spending in the race is nearly $500 million, more than the Trump campaign spent for its entire 2020 ad budget, according to the government transparency website Open Secrets. Voter Pat Miller of Milton, Georgia, and her family are ready for it to stop.
Well, I think we are all really burned out, regardless of which side we're voting on, with all the commercials. And quite frankly, the candidates could have done themselves a favor and saved a lot of money by cutting down on their advertising. I think people decided on this one a long time ago which way they were going to vote.
Which brings us to the Republicans' Trump card. The president last visited the state in early December.
But everything that we've achieved together is on the line.
Like then, his visit tonight is less about winning over minds than about getting out his voters. But some Republicans fear the president's electricity comes with electoral confusion. He continues to rail against Georgia's voting system, which has led some conservatives to say they are boycotting the Senate races. Buzz Brockway is a Republican and former State House representative.
What's that small percentage of people who have just decided to throw up their hands and say, forget the whole thing? You know, how is that a small number or a larger number?
More than 3 million people have voted so far by mail or in person. That is a state record for a runoff. With the eyes of the country on Georgia, Miller offered some words of assurance.
I just want people outside of the state to know that we're taking it seriously, whether you agree with us or don't. We are all taking this very seriously, and I think the turnout so far is evidence of that.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Lisa Desjardins.